it was problems he was creating, which was like the bigger issue. Like,
Yeah.
if they don't have nothing, if they can't come up with anything, then brilliant, excellent.
Yeah.
But don't then start trying to help them. Like,
we'll start with the game. The first like 15-20 minutes, bro. You know, we're gonna go through the game, but we'll stop and, you know, at little checkpoints to kind of discuss players when and they arise. And we've just got to start with our goalkeeper, David Raya. He had an absolutely stinking overall first half, to be honest. I don't think it stopped after the first 15-20. We tried to assert ourselves, but City looked very sharp on the ball. They got into us. Like, we were trying to do the same things, trying to build up from the back, but they were just doing it 10 times better. They gave us no time on the ball, and Raya just seemed to be a deer in headlights. Every pass, long ball, short ball, trying to clear it, close down. Do you think the occasion was too big for him?
I don't know. I don't know if the occasion was too big. Like, obviously he's been playing in the league, so he's not new to Man City. It's different when it's Arsenal versus Man City. It's different when it's the top of the table clash and not Brentford versus Man City.
Yeah.
I just think he knows. It's like him and Ramsdale. It's like, this is why a lot of people have said it's not good to have two number ones, because you're putting unnecessary pressure on them effectively. Like, you have goalkeeper is like the only place you can really get away with this. And if it is something you're seeing over a long period of time, you do something about it in the summer. You bench one and say, you're my number two now, or you get rid of him and then you bring in a number one. How we're playing it, where it's like, okay, Raya's been brought in, but Ramsdale is still like a number one, which the goalkeeper that the manager hasn't denounced and said, you are now the number two and Raya's the number one. At least then, you know, there's some type of, you know, people know their position. You see what I mean? Yeah. But it's literally like every man between Ramsdale and Raya that is playing for their keep. And it's literally probably sending them into matches, into battle, thinking, I can't make one mistake. I can't do nothing wrong. Which should be the case anyway, but it's just the added pressure in it. Like, and Raya, it was all over him today. He obviously, since Lons, he wasn't great against Lons, and, you know, one error, I guess, that led to a goal in that match. Then what was before Lons? Was it Tottenham? We had. Well, Tottenham was two matches before. We played someone before Tottenham, Bournemouth or Brentford. Was it Bournemouth?
Bournemouth. Bournemouth.
Yeah, which he was fine against. Tottenham, he was a bit wobbly again. Like, I just think it's the pressure, and he's brought in quote unquote bad form from Lon's game, and he was just doing shaky warrior. Like, I couldn't believe, like, just the man that you lot told us is composed and can pass the ball was just putting others under pressure. Sometimes there was one time it was in the first half, in this first 15-20, you're saying he like overhit the pass to Gabriel. It just made Gabriel kind of stretch a bit more to control it, which was fine. He controlled it, but then it allows the Man City attacker to almost have an extra yard pressing on Gabriel. Like, I'm just thinking, part of you being able to compose and pass the ball is judging the weight of the ball and everything. Like, I mean, he grew into the game when we grew into the game and stuff, and to be honest, he never really had much like on target against him. It was problems he was creating, which was like the bigger issue. Like, if they don't have nothing, if they can't come up with anything, then brilliant, excellent, sensational. But don't then start trying to help them, like, through misplaced passes, overhit passes, just wrong decision making. That it could have really been dire for us in that first 15-20.
It could have been dire, and he said everything pretty much. It was the short, it was the long, it was, you know, getting caught under crosses. Like, he was that one where Alvarez closed him down after, like, I think before that he had made a couple, like, he had the pass to Gabriel, which was a bit off, like long balls where you're watching the ball go and then it just bounces and then you're just like, where was even the attacker that you're trying to hit? and then Alvarez, like if he's more like he takes maybe the touch he takes brings him a couple more yards in goal, it's hitting off Alvarez and it's hitting the back of the net. And you just don't want to lose to City like that. You don't want to give them that edge. You want them to work for it. Obviously, we're saying this now in the hindsight that we've won. So in a sense, it didn't matter. But like you rightly said, now all of a sudden people are going to be like, Ramsdale's got to come in.
It matters. It matters because look at the goal we scored against City. That's all it was ever going to be. A ricochet, a mistake, or anything like that. Like, this is, on the face of it, 1-0. Like, and I can maybe say this in hindsight because we won. This was a good game in terms of like tactical and, you know, making sure everything had to be pinpoint. Even with the goal that we scored, this was a game for the defenses. The defenses 100. Were on top. You see what I mean? So it was only ever going to be a Raya slip up to Alvarez's boot and ending up in the back of the net, or a shot that takes a deflection and wickedly goes in. That's all that was ever going to win this match. By the time you're seeing that the score was, you know, how it was going, a man that should have been sent off wasn't sent off. Like,
we're going to get into that one.
You see what I mean? Like, it was only ever going to be something like this that created a goal. And we got away with it. Like, literally, like, we played well in the end. But in that instance right there, we really got away with it.
Yeah, I think, you know, these sort of games are about that, though, to an extent, about riding your luck and, you know, taking the opportunities when they present themselves. I won't say worry in the long term, but just more so, again, this is someone who you brought in for the added composure that Ramsdale was missing. And now on a couple of occasions, we've seen that it's been lacking in certain areas, in certain times where you're thinking, not that he'll be perfect, but if he had just the one mistake against Lens, but everything else was pretty much fine, then you would have just been like the one mistake. But there's been almost a mini catalogue of errors. And again, when I keep talking about the meritocracy, you think, does Ramsdale come back in? But then I think that opens up bigger questions in terms of how many mistakes now before somebody needs to come in? Or are you going to keep chopping and changing? Oh, Ramsdale gets 4 games and then he makes a couple of mistakes. And Raya, it's just not a healthy situation. And he has to just pick. He really just has to pick and then stick with that decision and give the other keeper the cup games. So if you know they have set games, and now if one is always performing in said games, then you say, you know what, I'm going to switch you guys around. Maybe that will be the only acceptable way. But yeah, Raya didn't cost us in the end, thankfully.
The one thing I'll say is, like, we're talking about maybe in this span of the first half, maybe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to be over egging it, maybe about 4 to 7 different instances where the passes were overhit, just didn't make whoever they were meant to make, bad decision making by Raya. Maybe about 4 to 7 instances in that first half, right? And at the end of the day, none of them were punished, and Raya's left this game with a clean sheet.
Crazy.
Ramsdale, on the other hand, for sure, one of those is going punished.
Yeah.
And that is, again, the difference, the marginal difference. If this was Ramsdale, like, God bless Ramsdale, but it's just maybe his luck in these situations where he's trying to play out and stuff like that. One of these opportunities would have ended up with this ball in the back of the net. We've seen it all the last season. Yeah. So yeah, he's got away with it. And bless his lucky stars today, he's got away with Arsenal winning, and he's got a clean sheet. Yeah. So it's like, how does Arteta drop him, even if he wanted to?
I mean, I looked at the match stats, and City only had 1 shot on target. And like you said, it wasn't really a game of that. It was a game of defenses, and again, it was all about the ball at your feet and how that was going to transpire in the game and affect the game. And he didn't do that part well. But at the same time, like you said, you come away with a clean sheet. What more do you want from me, Gaffer?